The best healthcare is there in ways big and small. There when we most and least expect it. We may not see it, but we feel it. It lets us know we're not in this alone. Everyone deserves a healthcare partner who never quits. One who's there for what matters. United Healthcare. There for what matters.
Hey, I'm Charlie. I really enjoy Ramsey County's Household Hazardous Waste program. They make it really accessible with their drop-off options, and they send out postcards every once in a while with helpful information. I drop off my household hazardous waste at the Bay West site. I like to let items in my home collect so I can bring a larger haul just a few times a year. I always tell people to check the website before they go. Chances are you haven't thought of all of the items that you can recycle, like batteries. When I recycle, I feel like I'm doing my part to minimize my carbon footprint, and it's easy and accessible to do so.
It's Not Your Fault is a podcast for parents, caregivers, and young people navigating the world and its challenges. Here's your host, Brandon Jones.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of It's Not Your Fault, a teen mental health podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Jones, and on today's episode, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to have an interview, something we haven't done on the podcast just yet, but we're going to start incorporating some new flavor as we continue to rock with the podcast. Today's guest is Audrey McGladdery, who's a student at White Bear Lake Schools and a youth advocate for the Association of Non-Smokers Minnesota. Now, our focus is going to be on teen smoking and flavored tobacco. Teens are dangerously deceived by flavored tobacco. Today, we're diving into this topic of what happens when young people are exposed to chemically flavored tobacco. High school and middle school children are experimenting with vapes and other flavored tobacco products, many of them not realizing that they're being exposed to nicotine and other harmful chemicals. Many of them are encountering these things at schools and other places within the community. And one place, and many of these places are, assumed to be safe, but obviously they're not. And as parents, we are concerned, and it's very worrisome when children are utilizing vapes and other harmful chemicals. So to think kids are scared to go to the bathroom in their own schools because their peers are vaping or smoking e-cigarettes in the middle of the school day is despicable. It's creating an unwanted layer of discomfort for students and for staff. We need to do better to educate ourselves and our children about the risk associated with using nicotine and the harm that it causes the developmental mind. And that's where our conversation today is going to kick off, is like, how is it affecting the development and growth of these young people? Research shows that a majority, 70%, of youth using flavored e-cigarettes show signs of nicotine dependence, which means it's hard to kick the habit once they get started. The flavored nicotine products that they are smoking are deceiving because they look like candy and kids like to play, right? And kids like the smell of it. It's fruity, it's fun, and it's a part of the culture. It's a part of being cool, having clout, is utilizing these types of cigarettes. So what ends up happening is that they think that they want, that they're doing the cool thing, that it's not necessarily affecting their mental health. Some of them are probably using it to cope with some of the stressors they're feeling in life. It helps them fit in, and it kind of, and some people say that it actually assists them with their ability to concentrate. But it does exact opposite. It creates a bigger issue, and it will last and it can be a lifetime issue for many people, unfortunately. They don't get that once they start smoking it regularly, and it's extremely hard to quit. And many are fully aware and how that's harming their health and how it's harming others. So we need to think about how flavored tobacco products are influencing kids' habits now and shaping their futures. Addiction and disease is around the corner for people who get hooked on these harmful chemicals. And today's guest is going to help us understand this from a young person's perspective. I'd like to bring to the stage Audrey McGladdery. How you doing today, Audrey?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for being on the podcast. I just have a few questions for you, and we just want to get a nice perspective on how this is an issue and how this is showing up in the lives of young people. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences and your encounter with flavored tobacco products at school?
Yeah, so at White Bear, I've seen a lot of kids in the bathrooms, especially during passing time, where they're just sitting in the bathrooms talking to their friends and they'll like exchange vapes. They'll like leave the vapes in the bathroom and the next person will go in. So like they'll share them. And then a lot of my peers are scared to go into the bathrooms, like you were saying before, because they don't want to smell or be around that stuff, or if like their parents are really strict about it. So a lot of my friends they end up not going to the bathroom until they get home, which
Wow.
I just think it's a very bad environment to be around, especially in a high school where there's like other younger kids here too.
Yeah, absolutely. How does that make you feel? When you're in that environment, there's, people kind of, they're really bullying people out of the bathroom by utilizing their ability to smoke. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it makes me feel sad because you're just seeing a lot of your peers are like skipping classes to do these not healthy substances.
Hmm.
It makes you sad to think that kids would rather do that instead of try and get an education to succeed in life.
Right. Absolutely. So, I mean, that brings the next question is why do young people do this? What is it about the e-cigarettes or the flavored tobacco that, draws young people in? Is it to be cool? Is it to ease their anxiety? Is it other reasons? Why do you think young people are doing this?
I think it's definitely about the flavors. There's around like what 15,000 different flavors
Yep.
that kids will be drawn to, and a lot of the advertisements they see are targeted towards these age groups, these teenage age groups. So I think definitely flavors in the advertisements of flavored tobacco is definitely a huge factor.
Absolutely, absolutely. The marketing is great too. I mean, I've seen some of the packaging is very appealing. Even if you go to one of the stores or if you drive past one of the stores look super cool. Like this is like a chill place to be in and to go into. What do you want other young people to know about when it comes to the dangers of commercial tobacco products like e-cigarettes, vapes, menthol cigarettes, and even hookahs? What do you want young people to know?
That even if you're just trying to seem cool with your friends, if like everyone else is doing it, in the long term, it's not worth it because of the how many different like health conditions that it comes with. So the longer you do it, it's not like you can just quit. It's very hard to quit. And the longer you do it for, the more harder it's going to be to quit and the more like health conditions you may receive through like your breathing and like your lungs.
Yeah, wow. Should be very scary for a young person who's developing. We generally think about young people being pretty healthy and doing something like vaping, which at first may not seem like it's gonna have these lingering effects. Definitely can. What do you think parents or caregivers or even kids themselves, young people themselves, what can they do to combat this problem or change what's happening at schools across Minnesota with the vaping?
With At schools, it's harder to stop it because it's up to school boards to decide what they do about this issue. At Whitebeard, me personally, I don't see a ton of stuff being done to stop it. They'll put posters up saying, "Oh, don't smoke, like it's bad, like bad for your lungs." But the students that do vape, they'll get caught and get suspended for like a couple of days. So in the long run at schools, there's not a lot being done that I see. And I think that's just up to the school board. I believe parents could talk to like school board members or at like the school board meetings, offer up ideas to stop this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So nice, short, and easy. I don't have any more questions for you, Audrey. I appreciate the work that you're doing with the Association of Non-Smokers Minnesota, and advocating for even the young people at your school. Thank you for your perspective, and your advocacy is so critical. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, of course.
All right, awesome. Yeah, this is a tough issue, and it's a newer phenomenon. I remember when I was in high school, we didn't really see smokers that much. There were a few kids who smoked cigarettes, but they would usually do that outside. And there were some students who would smoke marijuana in the schools, but it was never a thing as it has become today. Studies say that the number one way to combat youth addiction is to eliminate the availability of flavored commercial tobacco products. This includes the methanol cigarettes, the flavored e-cigs, hookahs, and vapes. And it's a challenge. It's not going to be easy. Tobacco is the number one cause of preventable death amongst Black African American folks, claiming 45,000 Black lives every year, and 10,000 Minnesota kids under the age of 18 will actually try a cigarette for the first time each year. So to change this narrative, we need to be better advocates for the change, just like Audrey's doing in her school. We need to listen to Audrey, and we need to listen to others and take action to prevent this youth nicotine addiction that is taking place in our communities, which leads to the adult nicotine addiction as well. So by telling your legislators it's time to make a safety and priority and protect our young people from a lifetime of addiction and disease by passing flavored tobacco legislation. For more information on how you can advocate for the end of sales of flavored tobacco products, go ahead and visit flavorshookkidsmn.org. That's flavorshookkidsmn.org. So we want to make sure that we do as much as we can to combat this issue before it leads to long-term issues and problems for young people. It may seem cool, it may seem relaxing, it may seem to curb anxiety, but it will cause further issues later. So that's going to wrap us up for today's podcast. Again, I'm your host, Brandon Jones. This is It's Not Your Fault podcast. There's those 3 ways that you can get in contact with us. The first is on our Facebook page. Just go ahead and search It Is Not Your Fault podcast in the Facebook search bar. You'll be able to find us articles and information there on the Facebook page. The second way is at my own personal website. You can reach out to me directly. That's www.jegna.org. That's jegna.org. And if you like this podcast and you want some more, you can check us out at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com, where you'll find myself and a whole group of awesome podcasters giving you quality information to live a quality life. And as always, be safe, be constructive, be well, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
To check out previous episodes of It's Not Your Fault, or to learn more about Brandon Jones, log on to ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
It's not just another day in your life. Things are changing for the better. At Comcast, we see those changes, and we're thinking about how we use technology today to live, work, learn, and play. And we're building for the future now, so we're better prepared for the wants and needs of tomorrow. That's why Comcast is rolling out multi-gig internet speeds to more than 50 million homes and businesses before the end of 2025, making our already industry-leading network even faster, smarter, greener, and more reliable. Over the decades, Comcast has been your partner, working hard to serve your community, and will continue to be your partner. We're expanding our gigabits so you can enjoy the tiny bits that matter most.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business. Are you a woman known as a good listener? Do you have skills in de-escalating situations? Are you what they call a people person? Then the Minneapolis Police Department would like to meet you. Now in a rebuilding phase, the Minneapolis Police Department is recruiting more women to wear the badge. The department offers career options for women with a high school diploma or GED. There are also opportunities for women with 2- and 4-year degrees who are ready to apply their skills in new ways. Police work makes a great second career for social workers, teachers, nurses. Women in their 30s and 40s are welcome to apply. There's no age cap. You'll be paid while you train and mentored by veteran women officers invested in your success. Minneapolis also welcomes current police officers to join the state's largest department. Make a difference on the streets, working in your community, in a career with competitive salaries and generous benefits. Go to minneapolismn.gov and search police jobs to find out more.
Here's a reminder. COVID-19 is a disease caused by coronavirus germs that pass easily from one person to another. Symptoms may show up 2 days or 2 weeks after you are already around someone with COVID-19. COVID-19 affects the nose and throat and sometimes affects the lungs, making it hard to breathe normally. Symptoms of COVID-19 can include fever, chills, cough, headache, muscle pain, sore throat, fatigue, or loss of taste or smell. Stomach symptoms like nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea can occur, but are less common. And some people with COVID-19 will not have any symptoms. Even after recovering from COVID-19, fatigue, cough, or joint pain continues for some people. If you have symptoms, get tested. Talk to your healthcare provider with questions or concerns about symptoms. And remember, getting vaccinated is one of the best things you can do to protect yourself from COVID-19.
Are you getting older and feeling concerned about staying safely in your own home? Or maybe it's your folks you're worried about. I get it. It's not easy getting older, especially when the house is starting to show its age too. There is help available.
Individuals want to maintain and stay in their own homes for as long as they can. In Rebuilding Together Minnesota, we provide the opportunity, we provide the programs for them to do that.
Rebuilding Together Minnesota has been helping eligible older Minnesotans and those with disabilities stay safe and healthy for more than 20 years.
Our central AC unit was non-functional. We had plugged a portable unit in to the living room. What ended up happening was our electrical outlet melted, and it was getting to be 90 degrees in here. Meyer was told about Rebuilding Together Minnesota by his daughter.
She said, well, Daddy, you need to sign up. I said, do I qualify? She said, well, you're a disabled veteran. You qualify.
So we provided a new air conditioning unit for the homeowner and also new electrical service, all through this veterans program that we have.
Thanks to Tom and Rebuilding Together Minnesota, we're able to maybe go out and get a hamburger every now and then.
To find out if you qualify, go to rtmn.org. That's RTMN for Rebuilding Together Minnesota. Or if it's easier, call 651-776-4273 and tell your friends. Trust me, this is news they can use.
If you live in an older home, it may contain lead-based paint on walls, woodwork, and windows. Even more bad news, lead exposure can be dangerous to young children and impact their brain development. And now, the good news. Hennepin County will fix lead hazards in your home at no cost to you.
We were worried because of the paint in the windows in the bedroom. They were peeling and chipping, and we know that when paint peels and chips and it looks a certain way, that's possibly lead. We were worried for our children more so than anything.
Eligible homes can qualify for up to $15,000 in upgrades. You may even qualify for new energy-efficient windows. Don't worry, Hennepin County has a trusted list of pre-approved contractors. You won't even have to find companies with correct licenses or certifications.
I've just done a test and it's positive. So we know that this is lead-based paint, and then we know it's a hazard because it's creating dust every time this window moves and opens. And if you look in here, that's just full of lead paint chips.
You won't have to stay with your cousin while you're getting the lead out. Hennepin County even pays for you and your family to stay in a hotel while the work is underway. The last good news is how easy it is to apply. Just go to hennepin.us/lead control to get started.
I'm really happy with the program. We can go to bed knowing that our children are safe.
That's hennepin.us/lead control. Tell your friends about it.